Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. So today I wanted to address a question that I heard on the Jay O'Connor show. In it, someone emailed him and said, "I'm a loner, I'm broke. My friends and family, they don't have a lot of money either. They just make enough money to pay the bills. How do I get into real estate, and how do I get private lenders to notice me?" So when I heard that, I was like, yeah, wow, okay, this is me. Or maybe I should say this was me. In a way, I consider myself an ambivert because I know that there are times when I can be very talkative, very friendly, but there are a lot of times when I go into a shell and I'm to myself and I don't necessarily socialize. A lot of it depends on the situation, the vibes in the room, or myself, how I'm feeling. See, I work at night by myself. Sometimes I work 10 to 12 hours. So I am tired. You understand me? I am exhausted, right? So I did find myself in that situation a long, long time ago. But I'm going to tell you this, and I know some of you may have some issues with it, but it's the truth. I'm a Christian. I believe in God heavy, right? One day I was in my bedroom and I heard the Holy Spirit say, money, that's not your real problem. It's people. You need to ask God to connect you to the right people. And I thought about that. The money part, I'll be honest, I was a little shaky because my money wasn't necessarily where I wanted it to be at that particular point in time. However, the people thing, I definitely gravitated towards that because I can definitely see that a lot of times it's not what you know, but it's who you know that can get you to the next level. So I began to pray and ask God to please put the right people in my life that will get me to the level where I want to be. Get me to where I need to be, where I would like to go. So I did pray about it a number of times. And then, of course, I stopped. All right. So I would say maybe 2 or 3 months later, my mother was working in the garden and a lady came up to her and started talking to her. They built up rapport. The lady mentioned that her son works in the similar field that I was working in. He left his job a long time ago and he's a full-time real estate investor. So I was like, whoa. But you know what? It wasn't until this question was asked that I realized that God did answer my prayer. So I do have to say thank you, right? That's why this question kind of blew me away. So anyway, she went on to say that her son had a mastermind group that met once a month, every Saturday. But they met in the afternoon. Now, being that I work at night, a lot of times I was tired and I was exhausted. I made it up in my mind I was going to go, but I didn't go right away. Then I finally got the courage, the the everything else that you can think of. And I actually went and I liked it for the most part. But even though I went to the mastermind group, I got a lot of knowledge, but I didn't get a chance to meet people. I spoke to people, but there wasn't that connection right away. You understand me? So I kept going back. I wasn't necessarily consistent with it, meaning I didn't necessarily go every month, but you could say like maybe every 3 months I went. And then I decided, you know what? I got to take this up a notch. let me go a little bit more often, no matter how tired and exhausted I was. So that is exactly what I did. So it actually took me a number of years before I finally got close to the people. And here's what did it. Okay, I live in a city where you don't really need a car. However, the son, who is the head of this community, this mastermind group, he needed to travel to a certain destination and be there at a particular time. If he were to take public transportation, it would not have gotten him there on time at all. So I said, hey, I have a car. Maybe I can take you. And then when he told me where it was, I was like, ooh, that's a long distance. And I don't really like to drive like that. So since he knew how to drive, I said, all right, you can use my car. I will sit next to you while you drive. That actually turned out to be a blessing, because that was the day in which we formed a tighter connection. Well, while we were driving up there, I asked him, how did you really get started? And, all these different questions that I had in my mind that I either was too shy, too afraid, or we just didn't have time for me to ask him. I was able to ask him right then and there. So that got us closer. It happened again another time, but this time it was him and some of the other people that were a part of the mastermind group. I did the same thing, but instead of asking him those questions, of course, I asked the other people that was in the car those questions. And again, that's how we got closer. So what I'm saying to you is this: find a way, find something that you may have that the leader of a mastermind group may need. Well, first of all, find a mastermind group, because there's like meetup groups, there's local real estate investors associations, there's a whole bunch of real estate groups that are out there that you can join and that you probably can meet in person. Go to them, find out what it is that they need, and see if you have whatever it is, whatever skill, talent. In my situation, it was a car that you can voluntarily let them borrow for a little while. And then this way, that builds up trust between yourself and that person, between yourself and that particular group. Okay, because that's how I particularly did it. Now, I'm going to let you, tell you off the bat, there are some groups that you probably will not feel comfortable with. If you go to them, let's say 3 times or more, and and the people are flippant with you, they're rude. I didn't have that with this particular group. Okay. As a matter of fact, some of you can actually see the group in an early YouTube video that I had recorded. I didn't experience any rudeness or anything like that. It's just that people lead busy lives. They had places to go, and then sometimes they don't always have the time to sit there and talk and to build a connection the way I would have liked for the connection to be built. But there have been situations where people were flippant with me. And I said to myself, you know what, there's over 1 billion people in this world. I don't need you specifically to get to where I need to go. There are other people who will not treat me that way, that will help me along the way. And that has worked for me. So my other point that I want to say is never sell yourself short, especially if you're not getting paid. If they're paying you money, I can understand. But if you're not getting paid, no. Give deuces and keep walking somewhere else. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention to you guys is, besides the groups that you can meet in person, there's also groups on social media. There are real estate groups in Facebook for just about every state in every city there is. You also have connected investors. You also have bigger pockets. You have Invest Her. You have Women in Real Estate, which is Wired. You have the National Real Estate Investors Association. Join one of those groups. Many times they actually meet on the internet as opposed to just meeting in person. Some of them meet both on the internet and in person, but you do have some groups that only meet on the internet, or they do Zoom calls, right? So get on those Zoom calls. Show your face sometimes. I know that sometimes we don't always want to. I definitely don't always want to, but at least once in one of those meetings, show your face, because for some reason people connect to you better that way. So I've been told. And yeah, I know I'm supposed to show my face on YouTube. I don't always, because I don't feel like being bothered with gussying myself up and getting myself together. And yeah, I know everybody doesn't gussy themselves up on YouTube either, but I'm not that girl. Anyway, basically, you're going to have to push, you may have to push yourself and get yourself out there some kind of way. Another way that has worked for me is get yourself a friend or a family member that is more of a social butterfly, that's friendlier than you. Why? Because they will go out there to the group. First of all, you have that friend that you're with. They don't have to have money, by the way. They don't even have to have a real estate deal or even like real estate. Just as long as they are likable. You understand me? That will attract people to them, and because they are with you, that attracts them to you. And that's another way in which you can grow your net worth as well. You don't necessarily have to depend on the fact that on you making the connections alone. You can do it with someone else, because let me also tell you, go back into the mastermind group. In the mastermind group, later on, the head said, you know what, let me separate you guys into accountability groups, because some of the people in the mastermind group was more successful than others. And he figured that by separating us and by putting us into these subgroups, that it would make a difference and that we would possibly make more money. So, listen, it worked, because I got an even deeper relationship with the people in that particular group. And have we done a deal together? No. Are we considering doing a deal together? Yes. The other thing, too, that I wanted to stress as far as being in these mastermind groups is that while you're there, you should be making money. Because while you're there, you're learning different ways on which you can make money. So basically, you take what you learn and you physically apply it. That's what I did. I learned to save. Well, I learned to save actually before joining the mastermind group. But they, of course, will teach you other ways in which you can save, in which you can stretch a dollar. They will teach you other ways in which you can invest in real estate, because so many of you think that fixing and flipping is the only way, and it's not. And it's not the only most profitable way either. Okay, so that's why you want to join one of these mastermind groups. So while your money is low, and the mastermind group, by the way, was free. I didn't pay for anything. While your money is low, or wherever, whatever level it's at, it'll eventually grow, because you are around people who are pouring into you. They may not be pouring into you directly. It may be indirectly at first, because they don't know who you are. But then eventually it will be more direct. And you'll see, okay, wow, I can save money here. Oh, wow, I've made money here. Okay, this, that, and the third. And then make those arrangements. You have to apply what you've learned, basically, is what I'm saying. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to say to you guys, or wanted to share with you, is this. When Clubhouse came out, I think I came in maybe like a year or two after, but I was consistent in joining one particular room every single day. Monday, first it was Sunday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, and then it became Monday through Friday. Now the group does not meet anymore. However, I'm still in contact pretty much with the members of the group. Well, there was an incident where I had to go down to Georgia, which is where one of the women lived. So when I went down there, she introduced me to a guy who was what? A private lender. And he was willing to give me a certain amount of money without me even giving him any paperwork. So guys, what I'm saying to you is this. You may not get it right away. You might not get it tomorrow. But the important thing is that you start. The important thing is that you look for people that can help you get to where you need to go. If you got to pray about it, like I had to, then by all means, pray and ask God to help you find the people that you need to get you to where you want to go. The answer may not come the next day. It may not come the next month. It may not even come the next year, but it will eventually come. And sometimes you can't be like me and don't ask for the money. Because honestly, I could have asked for a number of people in that mastermind group, hey, do you mind being a private lender and loaning me money to do X, Y, and Z? I'm pretty sure that would have happened. I mean, look at how long I know these people. You know? So guys, you just gotta take that chance. You have to, sometimes, you might need to break out of your comfort zone. You might need to. But start with where you are, start with who you are, and take the steps necessary. But if you don't take any step, if you don't make any moves, then you'll never get to the next level. So I hope the information that I shared will help you make smart financial moves, and hopefully eventually you will find that private lender. By the way, just so you know, there are websites where there are private lenders are listed. Bigger Pockets has one. There's also privatelenders.com. So there are websites that you can go to and you can apply for money from a private lender. Of course, now you do have to be careful, because unfortunately there are private lenders, so-called private lenders, who are scamming people out of money. So watch out for that. Be careful with that. You always want to make sure they have the money that they say they have. Because even me, when I became a private lender, the first deal that I had to do, I had to show proof of funds. As a matter of fact, every single deal I have to do, I have to show that I have the money in the bank first. All right, before that person signs their name on any contract, and before I even sign my name on my contract. Make sure you do that. Make sure you do that. Because there are a lot of people out here that will say they have money that they don't have, and they never intend on loaning it to you. They will charge you these exorbitant fees that you will pay, and then you're expecting to get this money that's never going to come your way. So yes, you have to be careful out there as well. Anyway, so Now I'm really finished. So guys, yes, please feel free to share this amongst your friends. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.